Hey guys, welcome back to Yarnquisitions Knitting Podcast. I'm Victoria. You can be Vic or Celine or Huceline. And I think I'll go over what I'm wearing. Old projects. And my whip. I don't have any finished objects this episode, and a ton of yarn and tools. Yeah, and I might get some more in the future, because the thing that I'm thinking of making, or at least my own pattern, it's I need 2.5 3mm needles, and I don't have any interchangeables in those sizes, so I gotta get some. And I hope you got a drink. I'm drinking hojicha milk tea. I just add a dash of milk. It's mostly water, honestly. And it's all cooled down because I took forever doing my makeup and other chores. So what I'm wearing the Pavlova Pullover. Hopefully you can see that. Do a little twist. Back. And yeah, sleeves are nice. And as you can see, it does sit quite high up because it's the same in the front and the back. So there's actually no front or back side. It's the same on both sides. So you might find that you have to adjust it a little bit. But yeah, you could definitely pull really far. And I'm wearing high-waisted, what are these called? Checkered pants, trousers. Sorry, my nose is itchy. Do you like this hairstyle? My boyfriend says it makes me look like a kid, more like a kid than I already do. So yeah. And he hates it, so I'm wearing it for the podcast. So for my old finished objects, these are coasters, and I put them on Etsy before twice, and basically no one bought it, so they're just sitting around. And I did use a set because I made 3 sets of this with the leftover wool yarn I had in fingering weight. I think these are super wash as far as I know, because most hand dyed, because these are hand dyed, most hand dyed tonals are super wash, unfortunately. And it's in the fingering sock weight, I think. So it probably also has nylon. But I threw away the little baggie it came, and yeah, it's gone. And I think the yarn is by Backyard Fibers. I don't really know. I don't remember which state they're from. Could be California, I don't know. But I got it at Stitches West several years ago. Probably my first time going there. But yeah, this is the pink one. And it's this flower doily design. And this is a mauve one. And this is the medium tone purple. And then the burgundy. And these are all tonal. And I also did my nails. Because they're like in need of a change. Because for whatever reason now I like do my nails every 2 weeks instead of every week. So yeah. So they all make a nice set of coasters basically, because they're like the size of a coaster, and they do fit my biggest mug, but my biggest mug is like a standard size mug, so if it's oversized it definitely won't fit this size, because I think this is like 4 inches or something, 3 to 4 inches. And the pattern I used is in this book, and it's quite heavy because it has nice glossy pages, and this is a how-to crochet book, so it has all the what do you call it, it has like all the needle sizes, including the steel lace ones, and like these are the tools, and basically it's a how to crochet, and they also give you like what is it called, it's like what is it called? Oh, the diagrams. No. What is it called? Like in, oh, charted. But like crochet charts, you know? But I don't know if I can show you that. Yeah, I think it includes all the, like the popcorn stitch, front back post, yarn over whatever, treble, double crochet, single crochet, puff stitches, and clusters, and cross post stitches, and like, you know, those kind of things. And it has the little diagram, like when you follow charts, because this is a charted crochet book. But yeah, so I did the one in the front. I did this one, but the completed one looks really different because of the yarn used. Oops. And I bookmarked all the projects. I think so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 individual projects to get you started. And this is what it looks like. This is the doily. Of course, I probably use like way thinner yarn because this is fingering, and I think they used something else. But I don't think it actually says. Well, they used a 3mm hook, and I probably used like 2mm or less. Yeah, I probably used like 2mm honestly for this. But yeah, I still have one more, and oh, and I gifted one supposedly from my grandma, but then my family, just immediate family, just like kept it. So there's that. So I think I made 4 total sets because of the leftover yarn that I had. Yeah, I think it went a long way. I made so many projects with that yarn, and it was like mini skeins, so yeah. Oh, and they even have like a little shawl. But I don't ever use shawls, so it's lost on me. And there's like a granny blanket, but I can never get myself to do a granny blanket or like connecting things, because they do show you how to connect like squares or like flower motifs, yeah, like 2 or 3 different types of flower motifs. And is that pentagon? No. What's one with sextagon? I don't remember. But the one with 6 sides, they tell you how to do that or connect them. But it's a lot of sewing or, you know, crochet, and I just connecting them is not, or seaming them, sorry, is like my most hated thing to do when it comes to yarn projects. Yeah. That's why after the first seaming the landscape sweater by Martia's company, my accents, after that one I was like so over seaming, never fucking again unless it's a pattern I freaking need. Because there's this pattern by Knitting for Olive, and they seam the freaking sleeve to the body, and I'm like, wow, I can't believe that they did that, because FML, I want that pattern. I mean, you can buy it online, but I'm waiting for that book to come out in English. It's still in Danish and whatever, but yeah. And I'm so impatient. I want the Mikta Dame Skarn booklet. I think it's 2202. And I really want it because it has 2 sweaters that I want to make. The Jolie sweater and the Ulysse sweater, or Oli. But Jolie looks like a French word, so I'm gonna say Jolie. And I really want those sweaters. It's like perfect spring sweaters, and like a good sweater to wear in the morning or at night during the summer, because here it ranges. The temperature always cools down at night, so in the morning and at night, or early morning I guess in the summer, and late night I guess, like 10 p.m. ish, it's like it cools down a lot rapidly, like 20 degrees every day. So yeah, it can get quite cold, usually in the 60s, 50s sometimes. So yeah, that would be like perfect. And if you live in San Francisco City proper, you'll get way more use out of those sweaters, because you could just wear like a light t-shirt underneath, and then wear like a huge mohair sweater, and the wind will pass through so it cools you down, but at the same time the mohair will keep you warm. Like, that's the perfect thing for San Francisco. So if you live in San Francisco, on the peninsula, or Daly City, like, that's what you need, literally. Because you can use it all year round. Summers don't get too hot unless there's like a huge heat wave. There was like 2 last year, so maybe there will be at least 1 this year as well for San Francisco, because I think it got up to like 80, 84, and that's unusually hot because it usually never goes above 75 in the summer, at least, because inland is hot, which makes the coast really foggy. So yeah, and if you want to go to San Francisco, go in winter, because winter is, if you live more north than San Francisco, it's like a little warmer. It's just slightly warmer. And then the sunsets are fucking great. And it's clear skies most of the time. In like January, December, and then in February, March-ish, and April, I guess, also, that's when it rains a lot. So, well, if it rains, that's a huge if, okay? The drought is no joke. So yeah, just a little tidbit. Maybe I'm rambling too much, whatever. I need to get on to the next thing. Oh, I just want to say, when I bought this in Korea, because if you haven't noticed from the other podcast, I like basically had an itch to crochet when I was there. So I was like, I need everything. I need hooks, I need yarn, I need a book to basically help me remember the charts and what they mean. So yeah, it helped me a lot when I was learning how to read charts and make my own charts. Although those were like really sloppy and kind of hard to read, but I could still read them, no problem. And it does help you with lace a little bit, but they don't tell you the meterage. They only tell you the grams of the yarn used, so that kind of sucks. It doesn't tell you exactly what the yarn is, because you can't get the yarn in Korea, at least as far as I know, unless you get it shipped from Japan. So that's like annoying. And why I'm saying that the yarn is originally from Japan is because I found out that this book, after I came back from Korea, like in 2015, so a super long time ago, after I came back, I found out this book was actually originally in Japanese, because I think I looked in the back somewhere, or looked at where is it? Oh yeah, here we go. It's copyrighted by Nihon Vogue, Sha. I don't know what Sha means. In 2010. So this is a 2010 book. So by the time I got it, it was like 5 years old already. The original contents, at least. So it's Japan Vogue dash something Sha. I don't know what that means. And there's no kanji. So yeah, so it's Nihon Vogue Tokyo. And this is just the Korean edition. Oh, here's the designer. Hiromi Endo. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's why. Oh, and in the front it says Ilbon Bogusa Pyeon. Oh, Bogusa. Interesting. But yeah, it says Japan Vogue 4. No, Pyeon book. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't look at it when I was in Korea. So yeah, it's an originally Japanese book that got translated into Korean. So maybe it's also translated into English. but it's Japan Vogue. Not to be confused by Vogue Japan, okay? Not the same thing. Because there's also Vogue Knitting in the US, which is different from regular Vogue, which is a fashion magazine. And Vogue Knitting, obviously, is a knitting magazine. So, yeah. It's a little crazy, but that's just something to keep in mind. I don't think they're the same company or under the same owners, parent company, maybe. I don't know. I haven't looked that up, so don't hold me to it. I'm just thinking that maybe they're not part of the same thing. But they could be. So, my whip, last time you saw it, I was on the front panel to here, I think, and I had to rip back several rows because I messed up, if you saw it in the last episode. And now I'm almost finished with the body, so I have like one and a half rows to go. So yeah, and for the neck, I didn't do the double rib and then Italian bind off because I just don't like the way it looks. Although maybe it made it like a little floppy, but whatever. I just don't like that double knitting because you can see the, what do you call it, like the two lines in the front and in the back. So I just don't like that of the double knitting. And the double knitting part will keep its shape better, and it will like cinch it a little more. That's what's supposed to do to keep its shape, but I don't like that. Because in the champagne cardigan, you can definitely see that those lines, and I don't like it. Yeah, it's so nice, and it's at a nice length, so I could wear it with jeans, regular jeans, not high-waisted, and I could also wear it with these pants, so that's nice. And I could also wear it with my pink joggers. I don't think you've seen it. Maybe you have, I don't remember, but yeah. So far I've used I'm on my fourth. Yeah, fourth? No. Yes, I'm on my fourth mohair skein, and I'm almost finished with the body. So it's like still like pretty full. So it's the fourth one. And I'm on my, which one is this one? I had 10. So my fifth, what is this? Double soft merino. It's a worsted. Or it says it's a worsted, but I think it's between a worsted and DK. Like around there. Yeah. Because this is almost the length that the pattern says. I think I'm like off by a few centimeters, but that's probably because like everything is still cinched up because I haven't blocked it. So, and then the last things I need to do are the sleeves, and the sleeves have German short rows, so that would be nice because the thing I want to make also has German short rows, or the thing I want to design, I should say, I wanted to have German short rows on the sleeve because it would be weird otherwise. Yeah. Because of the shaping. Yeah, so I have 2 more balls out of the 6 untouched, but maybe it's like 1.5 per sleeve, and I think I will have some left over. Maybe a whole ball left over even. But the pattern says that it's like between 5 and 6 skeins of mohair for size X small. And for small, it's like you need 6, I think. And I have 4 out of the 10 skeins left of the double soft merino. So yeah, this pattern does eat up the yarn, but at least I'm using the yarn. Well, it doesn't really help because I bought more yarn, so technically my stash didn't dwindle. So I was trying to use up my stash, but alas. And I've been looking at so much yarn, like it's crazy. Take a sip and then continue working on whatever you're working on as I talk about my Yarnquisitions and the other acquisitions that I got. So I'll start with tools. So I bought some stuff from petiteknit, and look at these bags. They're so nice, and they're just nice, I think. And these are the stitch holders. No. Stitch holders. I guess you could say they're stitch holders. But they're made out of like this rubber material. I thought that they're really stretchy, but they're not. So I think you have to use like either a double pointed needle or just like needles on a cable or something like that, and then you attach one side to the needle plus cable if you're using interchangeables or fixed needle. Yeah, and you just like push it on there, and then you can just go through your wherever you need the holders to be on. I bought 2, but I only needed 1 because each little packet has 5 in them, and I guess I forgot that there was 5 in each packet. Silly me. And there's 3 that's 1 meter and 2 that's 1.5 meters. So I think the brown one is longer because there's 3 of the white one. I already used 1 in this one, the white one, and yeah. I think these are pretty cheap too. They're like $4 or something USD, and it's Danish kroner, Denmark's currency. And the shipping is like $10. I want to say around 10, 5 to 10. I forget. And they ship through Post Nord, so if you're in the US or maybe a different country, Post Nord's tracking only goes as far as within Denmark. So once it leaves the country and enters your country, the tracking stops there. So you just gotta pray that it gets to your mailbox. which is the same for Knitting for Olive. I've never had a missing package like ever, either sending or receiving, so I don't know, maybe I just have good luck. But yeah, it could still happen, depending on where you are in the world, of course. Or maybe your customs doesn't let you get it. I don't know. And I also got, what is this? Elastic thread, which is really interesting because I've never seen such, like, this kind of thread ever in like crafting stores around here, or in the US at least. I didn't really go to crafting stores in other countries, to be honest. Only Korea. But I didn't look at the tools, so or their like accessories or whatever. But yeah, this is like super stretchy, and it comes like this. Yeah, the elastic is only around the outside, and then the inside is just probably there to so it can wrap around something. But yeah, let's see. I don't know if you can see this, but it has like a little thing sticking out, and this is where you can stop your elastic thread from unraveling, because it unravels really quickly, so you have to hold it as you're like unraveling. You don't want to like let it go, because then it'll just keep unraveling until it can't unravel, and then you probably would have to start from the beginning to wind it back on this thing, which is not easy. It's not easy. But yeah, when it's on this thing, it's like super stretched, so it can like hold its tension there. So it stays on. That's what I'm trying to say. So it stays on. You just gotta be careful. And I got a free petiteknit, what is this, like, tag. I'm probably never gonna use it because literally I hate sewing, as you can tell, because I also hate seaming. I mean, I'll sew if I have to, like I have to repair my laundry basket, so that kind of sucks, so I have to sew that. But if it's optional, I'm not gonna sew it. Oof. But yeah, I think this is also like $5, and this is like $4 each, so pretty cheap, I guess. Yeah, because I thought the elastic would be way more, because it's such a specialized thread and tool accessory. So yeah, you definitely don't need it, but I want to put it on my Jenny sweater because the collar is so like floppy, and I want it to be tighter. And I also got it because my cousin's beanie, I'm like kind of scared that it's gonna stretch out and then not cinch in again, because it is brioche. So over time it will stretch as you wear and wash. And yeah. And then I'll show you something else I got for free, which is this super bright thing that's so not my color, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is it? It reminds me of those like 90s, early 2000s coin purses, because you could just slip it in right there. But then it also has a hole right here, so I'm like, why does it have a hole? And it has like, and it's like a keychain thing, and I'm like, why do I need this? But maybe it's for like notions or like your stitch markers or something. Like, I don't know. But I hate this plastic or rubber, and it also smells like that plastic that is used in children's toys. It's a very strong chemical smell. And I wish they didn't give me this, because now I feel bad for throwing them away, and ain't nobody uses coins. So, yeah. Kind of weird, freebie. I wish they gave me like one stitch marker instead of like this. But it was free, so whatever. And this is what I got from Pro Soho, because they have a 40% up to 40% off on tools, notions, yarns, select tools, notions, strands. Yeah, and books, I think. Maybe not, because they don't really have that many books. I looked, and yeah, they don't have that much stuff there. So first, I'll start with the brightest thing. Oh, maybe I should just take one out. So you can skip the next like 30 seconds, so I can take out the yarn. It came undone. Oh no, that's something else. Never mind. Oof. So I got 3 types of yarns. Let me put this down. Oof. I got 9 weight, 100% merino, by Purl Soho. Can't see that. So it's 494 yards, around 450 meters, for 100 grams, and this is a fingering weight. And it's made in Peru, so you know there's no mulesing. I don't know how to pronounce that still. Like, who does? And it's in the color Ballet Pink, which is 1110, 1110. That's the color number. And the name is Ballet Pink, which is perfect for Ballerina by Knitting for Olive, their mohair. Because their ballerina in their merino is fucking sold out. Like, I really wanted that. And then the next time I checked on it, it sold out. So they probably won't get it in for like another month or something. Or at least another month. So I'm not gonna wait that long. And this was on sale, I think, just under $14, which is quite expensive still, for me at least, because I always tried to get skeins under $10. But this is 100 grams, so I don't feel that bad, because Knitting for Olive is like €6, or the merino is like €6, or like 6 USD per 50. So if you double that, that's 12, and this is like 13.80 or something like that. So not too big of a difference. But yeah, so it's like around just under $7 per skein, or per 50 grams, not per skein. So it's not so bad, and I only needed 4 skeins to get sweater quantity, because I buy everything in sweater quantity, because I'm just like so freaking traumatized. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not traumatized. But I just like, it's so annoying not having enough yarn for a project. I just really regret buying only one skein of that 50% super wash merino, 50% silk, and a hand-dyed tonal, and I love that. And they have never restocked that base or colors, so super bummed because it's such a shiny wool silk blend. Yeah. Enough about that. Oh, and this is a single ply. Single ply. Reminds me of the Finita yarn by We Are Knitters. And full disclosure on the We Are Knitters situation, I will probably have to buy the wool. Is that what it's called? The really chunky wool to finish a whip that has been neglected for months because they haven't had a sale. So I gotta wait for a sale or something. So who knows when I'll finish that? Maybe in the fall when it's time. Or maybe I'll just wait till Black Friday. And their sale is pretty good for Black Friday. Let's see. Is that all I have to say about this? Yeah, it's a single ply. And let me show you the comparison to the ballerina. So the ballerina is like slightly more muted, slightly more gray, a little more gray than the ballet pink and the line weight. I don't know if you can see it. It's maybe too much shadow. But yeah, this is slightly more gray, this is slightly more pink, and yeah. I think this is more of a like stocking pink, or ballet stockings. It reminds me of ballet stockings, and this is like ballet shoes color, if you know what I mean. And then so together, I think it'll make this a little lighter and have like a nice light halo. At least that's what I think it will look like. And yeah, I have some, what is it called? Some structured yoke sweaters I want to do. One by Joanne Knits. That's her Instagram name, but I think her name is Joanna Ang. So I want to do one of her sweaters because it looks so nice, and it looks like it has enough interest for me, because I find that if I do more complicated, or what looks to be more complicated patterns, I actually finish them way faster than stockinette patterns. Because you know, my sweater number 9 is still neglected, and it still hasn't had another sleeve. I haven't even started on the second sleeve. I didn't even work on it since last episode. So yeah. Oh, I know when I was working on the Ingrid sweater, I found like a dead fly in my mohair, but that's fine. I just like knocked it away. Not too big of a it's not that big of a huge deal because it's so small, and there's always an occasional fly that flies in from outside. It's just what happens when it gets warmer. And I mean, it is what it is. Thankfully, no moths have come in yet. I mean, there has been like 1 or 2 moths, but I either killed them or they like flew away. So that's good. Or they're in the other room and not in this room. So that's where I'm at with the insect situation. Hopefully it's better in the other yarns. Like there's nothing in it, hopefully. And then I also got the tussock, I don't know. Mohair is 60% super fine kid mohair and 40% silk. And it's interesting because it feels a little dry, which I feel like the other silks don't feel like that. Or the other mohair. Yeah, the other mohair is like cooling, and this is like, it feels dry and it keeps unraveling. Like, why? Why do you do this? Is it because it's not twisted enough? Or one end is like way too short? Maybe I have to redo it though. Ugh, so annoying. Oop, over twisted. Under. Yeah, I don't know what's up with this, but hopefully I don't know why it keeps doing this. There you go. You can skip the next few seconds, like 10 seconds. Okay, well, this is as good as it's gonna get. So this is the tussock mohair silk, 60% mohair, 40% silk. It feels like more dry compared to the Knitting for Olive one, and it's 25 grams, 328 yards, so about 300 meters, which is quite a lot more than the Knitting for Olive or any silk that I've tried, or any mohair silk that I've tried so far, because it's usually 25 grams, like 210, 225, but not 300 meters, sorry. And this one's made in Japan, so I think it's like comparable to the Shibui Knits, what's it called? Mohair silk. But I've never tried it and never felt it in person. I've only looked at it online, and it's so freaking expensive. It's like $28 per 25 grams. Or is it per 25 grams? I think so. Or is it per 50? Maybe 50. But I think it's 25. Because, oof, that is expensive. And then the color that I wanted is $30 actually. Ugh, so much mohair in my face. It's like $30. It's the Le Garçon colorway, but then, you know, that there was that drama earlier and with one of them, because I think, but I don't know his name actually. but one of them got into like some controversy because he was like harassing other designers, like independent designers, for some reason, or being super mean to them. And then the Quebec knitting community is like, everyone got, it was just bad vibes all around in the Quebec knitting community. So then we were like, should we support, should we not? But Imagine.knit got their, or restocked that collection. They had a trunk show. So if you want to get some, you go to Imagine.knit. They have quite a bit. And they also have kits if you want to do a kit. But anyways, this was also like under $14 per skein, and that's still expensive for me. Like 13 something. Yeah, and it's only 25 grams, so it's kind of expensive. But I really want to try Purl Soho because everyone like raves about their yarns. Although it's not the ones that I got that people rave about. Which is my bad habit. Which is getting stuff that people didn't even mention. Yeah, so we'll see. And I got it because it's called Apple Blossom. And the color number is 9498, which is very close to the Cherry Blossom colorway by Knitting for Olive. It's close, but not that close. I guess on camera, the difference is larger, but in person, it's pretty close. This is definitely more gray, more muted, I guess you could say. And this is more pink and slightly more purple, like ever so slightly more purple, and definitely more cool toned than this one, because I thought this was like really cool tone, but this is like really cool toned. Really cool tone pink, so it looks more like lavender-ish. But it's still pink, okay. As you can see in the camera, it's like bumping up the pinkness, so it's a much softer color than in the camera. Maybe because of the lighting, I don't know. But yeah, on camera, I think this looks more pink than in real life. How strange. Maybe because it's so fluffy. That could be why. Sorry for all the rustling. It's all in Ziplocs. Okay. Try to keep my stuff nice. And then I got this interesting thing, which is their coorie, which is not made out of Corriedale. Or is it coorie? I don't know, but it's like Coorie. And it's 100% super kitten mohair. So that's why I got it, because it's really hard to find 100% mohair skeins or yarns in the US especially. And this is 50 grams of, I think they labeled it as like a fingering weight yarn, so hopefully I can use it for like a structure sweater. It's because, okay, I have a confession. I've been super influenced by Knitting Traditions podcast. Knitting Traditions. Oh, I can't speak. I've been super influenced by Inga because, I mean, they just look so good, honestly. And she also has, on her Instagram, she has like structured knits that is like on her knitting list. So I like looked through those and then chose the ones that I liked the most. That's how I found about found out about Joanna Ang's patterns because they're so nice and so structured. So this is 137 yards per 50 grams, so about 100 meters per 50 grams, which actually makes it a DK weight, but it's a fragrant weight. Probably because it's mohair, so it's like quite heavy. In this like tiny 50 gram skein, it feels a little heavy, so that's probably why the yardage is so tiny. So because the yardage is not that much, I had to buy 11 skeins for a sweater quantity, especially if I wanted to do a structured knit or like a heavily patterned knit with less stockinette. I would need more yarn, so I got the 11 just to be safe, because 10 would be enough for like a stockinette pattern. But because I know that I don't like to knit, or it's not interesting enough for me to knit stockinette all the time, especially for a whole sweater, I would have left over if I bought 10 for stockinette. But yeah, because of that, I can't. I mean, sweater number 9 is taking me months to freaking finish it, because I haven't been working on it. But yeah, the mohair, and oh shit, it's in the color icecap blue, which I was hoping it would be like a little lighter, but not too mad about it. It's a very spring color, or can wear it in winter. It's just so drapey. Look at it. It's a loose noodle. Let's see. Oh, the color number is 9435. If you're like looking to get it. They probably still have some on their website. Did I say how much I bought of this? I don't know. Oh, so I did buy 6 of this, so it'd be like more than enough to make something, a sweater. And I'll probably have 1 skein left over, or at least half a skein left over. Yeah. And I think I'm gonna keep it in what it came in, because I don't want to use more Ziplocs. And it's already like packaged like this, so why not? But now I have to struggle like putting them in, you know? And you can skip the next 30 seconds for like all the rustling. Because it's literally just me struggling. And yeah, all nice and closed. I think this whole thing cost me around 207 because they have like free shipping. So, oops. Oh no, the tape is not sticky enough. Time to put more tape on it. Maybe I should have done this after, but whatever. I probably won't open it until I know until I'm ready to work on a structured knit. Yeah. So I have enough for like 3 pink sweaters, and 1 very bright blue sweater. And I think if I don't like it, maybe I could pass it on to my cousin. But she doesn't really like the Drops Kid Silk mohair. But this is like definitely way softer than that. So I don't know. But my cousin likes teal more than a bright blue. I think it might be too bright for her. So yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to try Purl Soho's yarns because it's like expensive. So if I like them, maybe the next time they have a sale, I'll buy some more. If not, then I'll never buy from them again. But shipping was super fast. It was like surprisingly fast. I got it within the week that I bought it. So I bought it on like maybe like a Monday or something. And then I got it on Saturday. Like that's super fast. But I also didn't know that they have a warehouse in California and I'm in California. So it's like a day's or 2 days worth of shipping time period. Like it was only 2 days that it was in the shipping system for. So yeah, if you live in California and you buy from Purl Soho, they have a warehouse here, so it's gonna be super fast. So I guess that's one perk of Purl Soho. And I actually saw on their website that their yarn store in New York isn't even open. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. But maybe it's because they're just swamped with work, that people buying yarn. But I think they do have several workshops or classes, so they do that online. Probably safer for them as well, because you know, New York is a busy city. And then what recently happened in their train station, or their subway system, was like really tragic, and people I think are scared to go. But I think the person is caught already, so you just gotta keep a lookout for like copycat people, which is like horrible that people would be copying that. Like why? Like, I don't understand that. I think I'll never understand it, as most people won't. But yeah, subway shit is always like super freaky. And then in 1995, because I read about it, because a Japanese author wrote about it. I think he was like interviewing people about that incident, like survivors, people who were in the cult that happened in Japan. And I think that's why Japanese people they like really look down on the cults, maybe because of that incident, or maybe just because that's their like philosophy in Japanese culture or something. This is just my speculation. This is like not based on Like, I mean, it's based on truth, but it's an interpretation of the truth. So it's not hard facts. You know what I mean? But yeah, I read about the train or subway gas incident in Japan in the year 1995. And yeah, that was so crazy. And I still, because I read it a while ago, like, I don't know, 5 years ago or something like that, or 4 years ago, I don't remember. It was a really, really long time ago. So I don't exactly remember the reason why it happened. I know that the cult members were like brainwashed into following orders, so that's like no bueno. And they were just people down on their luck, and they became members of this cult because it was like a beacon of light for them. And I think that's the reason why most people get into cults. Not to be like preachy, because I can't judge them. Like, when you're in a downward spiral and you just can't think of well, I don't want to say that, but you just can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, then it becomes really hard. You just like try to grasp at any straws that you can, to keep going. So I've been there, lots of people have been there, so I can't blame them. It's just what it is. Why am I even talking about that? Right, New York, and then Brooklyn, and then whatever. I hope that's not too, what do you call it? Too depressing or sad. Even though those are like serious topics. It's just on my mind a little bit. And for the Ingrid Sweater, I had to print out all the charts, as I usually do, because looking at a screen, that's like literally just lines, and that's just really hard for me. So that's why I always print out charts. And to be honest, you really don't have to flip through charts, because there's like a chart for the body, a chart for the front yoke, a chart for the back yoke, and then a chart for sleeves. Like, that's how the charts are written. So, and Knitting for Olive charts are written like with increases, and that's why they have so many different charts. But most of the charts, or the charts in the petiteknit pattern for the Ingrid Sweater, doesn't have any of the increases in it. I think that's why it's like that, because only parts of it is charted, not the whole thing. So, but the whole some of, maybe all, but the knitting patterns that I bought from Knitting for Olive, they're all charted, and they all include like the increase, decrease, if there are any decreases. Maybe not for sleeves though, because it only has like decreases at the end, depending on the pattern. Let's see. Anything else to mention about the Ingrid Sweater? Maybe I should have said that when I was talking about it, but I was like way too excited about showing you guys the Ingrid Sweater. Yeah. Let's take a sip while I think about what else to talk about. Oh yeah, you know this book? I totally forgot that they have like a stamp that tells you that the book was bought and the date that it was bought. So I bought this in 2015 in September, and on the 8th, I think, in September. The heck? I thought I bought it in like October. I guess I bought it pretty early on because when I was in Korea, I went there in August, like a week or two earlier. Then the semester had started. That phrasing was really weird. I went there like a week earlier than when school started. You know what? I can't phrase it right, but you know what I mean. Yeah. I don't really have any other... Oh. I haven't started this top yet. Even though yesterday was like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, like 25 degrees Celsius. Even though it's that hot, today is not that hot. It's like barely hitting 75 or 73. But it's super sunny, so I might just go outside for a bit. I don't know. That's why I can wear this right now. It's because it's not that hot, but it's not too cold. So it's like a perfect spring sweater. Because if you lift it, it lifts up quite high. So it's not really suited for winter, but for spring, it's good. And yeah, and it is flowy enough where it doesn't trap my sweat. You know, if I happen to sweat, which I am sweating right now, but it's nice and cozy. Is that too much information? Probably. But yeah, I can't seem to start this because I just want to keep working on the Ingrid sweater. Like, it's like nonstop. And I think a lot of other people have also felt this way about the Ingrid sweater. Like, you just can't stop working on it, which is a good sign for me. Because if you can't stop working on it, that means you'll finish it. So, that's like a telltale sign that it's a good project to work on. But it requires a lot of yarn, so there's that. But yeah, I can't seem to start this because I just had a bad experience doing the crochet provisional cast on, and I'm like, because I like lost the stitches. Pulling back the cast on. So hopefully I'm more prepared for this one. But yeah, I just haven't gotten around to it, and it's such an easy knit, but it hasn't been that hot. But I think after this week, because this week it's still gonna drop down to 60, 65, after this week it's gonna go back to 70s or like 75. So maybe I'll start it next week. But yeah, it's not gonna be in this green, it's gonna be in a pink. So yeah, if you can't tell already, my colors is like blues and pinks. Blues and pinks, mostly. And I just really want a yellow mohair. And then like I saw yesterday that Garntopia in Norway is shipping internationally, so they have like a 15% off code. And I want to buy all the yarn, but I like pared it down. Like I cut down like all of it on a lot of it, and it's like still $300 or $350. I'm like, oh my god, I need to pare it down more, but I want all the pinks and all the other ones. I don't know. And then I actually didn't know that Kamerosa was so cheap. It was like around like $5 a skein of the alpaca silk. Monostrada is like the cheapest one, and it's the one with like the glitter or lyrics, glitter, shiny stuff in it. So I really want that, so I can make it into a structured knit sweater. And yeah, just the idea of like alpaca and then some shiny speckled gold speckling, that catches my attention. Like I love glittery things, but if it's subtle, I want it even more. So yeah, I'm like struggling to pare it down, and I'm still on the fence about buying the Mixtel Dame booklet, because I want those, but it's in Norwegian, so I don't know where to get the English version, or if they even made an English booklet, because right now they're still in single patterns and you can only buy it with the Sandnes yarn. But I want to make it in Knitting for Olive or the Apple Blossom colorway by Soho, or the tussock, but it's not made out of tussa silk, so whatever. Or maybe it is, but it didn't say that in the description, so I have no idea. But if anybody knows the difference between tussa silk, sari silk, and mulberry silk, please let me know. They all look equally shiny. Like I don't know what the difference is. Because sari silk makes me think that maybe it's silk that's made for saris, which are like Indian traditional clothing. It's a traditional clothing item. Is it item, or is it like the whole shebang, the whole outfit? I don't know which one it is. And tussa silk, I've only ever heard people using tussa silk in like spinning, or like when people are making like rovings, or what's it called, like carding rovings, or making rollags so they can spin with it. Rollags make woolen spun, and then rovings make worsted spun. And it took me a while to learn that the way that something is spun does not mean it's not equal to the worsted weight. I hate that they use worsted, or like double the same word for two different meanings. Like, oh my god, like knitting, they do it all the time. Like stitches, worsted, and like, I mean, just because there's worsted spun, and then there's worsted which is 2 different things. And then there's like individual stitches, and then the pattern stitches, because it's like you say stockinette stitch, but that's like a pattern technically, right? And then like the purl stitch, knit stitch, slip stitch, those are all like individual stitches. And then there's like what do you call it, like double moss stitch. Why is it stitch, you know? And then there's, but if we say pattern stitch, then it could mean like a full like pattern, or like we call like sweater, like sweater patterns. Like there's like not enough words for knitting terminology. Like we need more words. Like someone please make some up so we can use it and know what exactly what you mean. Like I really freaking need that. Like, ugh, maybe I'm just complaining. But yeah, I think this is why people get so confused, whether knitting, crocheting, you know, or fabric arts related things, because people, there's just too little words. There's too little words. That's my conclusion. So if you've made it this far and you are okay with me rambling on these weird, freaking crazy tirades, monologues, then thank you for watching this week's episode. Pretty sure you like turned it off already, but if you made it this far, thank you. I'll let you go now, and before I let you go, take another sip of drink. Mine is tea, but I did drink coffee earlier in the morning before filming this, and it's already like 1, probably 2 by now, but you know, it is what it is. Okay, so I'll see you guys next week. Bye.